Well, hello everybody. Jeff Cowan here from Jeff Cowan's Pro Talk, and I'm back with a new edition of my podcast entitled Right Service, Write Your Own Paycheck, the path to making over $100,000 a year when writing service in the automotive industry in the United States of America, Canada, and or Australia. And like I always like to say, just over 20% of you are doing just that. You're making over $100,000 a year writing service, but that means that nearly 80% of you are not, and that's just not right, because you should be, because if you're not, you're doing something wrong. So how are we going to correct that? Well, keep watching my podcast or listening to my podcast. Go to my website, automotiveservicetraining.com, automotiveservicetraining.com. There you will find articles, blogs, tools, techniques, more videos, all the stuff that you need to put yourself in that $100,000 a year club, which is a fun one to be in. Well, with today's podcast, we're going to do what we've been doing, and that is I'm going to answer the most common questions I get, but instead of from you, the viewers, whether it's at a live convention when I'm there or at a workshop or just simply you've emailed it to me or text me, I'm going to take the most popular questions I've been getting here and I'm going to answer them by showing you videos from live events that I've done where I answered the same question. Today's question we're going to look at is, Jeff, you always say that technology in service departments is a good thing and that you do it, but you say that people depend on it for the wrong thing. They depend on it to make them successful, and you say the technology itself won't make you successful. Can you explain to me what that means? And in this video today, I will do that. Now, this video clip you're going to see is from a meeting I did at the NADA convention a few years back. If you want the whole video, just go to nada.org and you can find it there. But today, again, the question is Jeff, why is it you feel this technology is being misused in dealerships, and how can we use it to be better? Well, here you go. Watch this clip, and you'll soon get the answer. Take care. See you next week, by the way. Everybody with me? All right. Well, here we go. Well, first, I got a question for you before we go any further, and here's what this question is. Can I ask you to have a very open mind this morning? You think you can do that? Can you give me an open mind this morning? I'm going to make you answer. Can you give me an open mind for the next hour? All right, because what I'm going to show you is so simplistic that the hardest thing you're going to have to do when you walk out of this room is believe that what I'm going to show you and how to accomplish it is really this easy. You see, because your industry, the auto industry, my industry, your industry, has led you down a wrong path. See, they've made you believe that what the customer wants is what they want, and it's not working. And what I'm talking about, if you want to bring it right down to the very basics, is all this technology and all this software. You see, your industry is trying to make you believe that you should be Amazon. They're trying to make you believe your customers don't want to talk to you. And what's crazy about that is that Amazon, not only has it already been invented, but Amazon doesn't want to be Amazon anymore. Now, follow my line of thinking on this. It's history repeating itself. Let's go back to the late 1800s. Late 1800s. My Aunt Ruth recently told me this. I'm going to take a sidestep here. She recently celebrated her 100th birthday. Can you believe that stuff? 100 years old. We went and had a birthday party with her, and people started telling stories about her. And I didn't know this until that party. When she was 93 and her husband, Uncle Kenny, my Uncle Kenny was 97, they filed for divorce after being married for 70 years. I didn't know that. The judge gets up there and says, why would you file for divorce? He's 97, you're 93, been married for 70 years. And she said, well, we were just waiting for the kids to die. That's funnier than that. I worked hard on that joke and get no respect for it. Thank you very much. All right, let's go back to the late 1800s. Let's get back to the Amazon thing, right? There was two guys by the name of Sears and Roebuck, and they ran a dry goods store. They were so good at what they did that farmers literally came in from hundreds of miles around in their horses and carriages, and they would stay in town for several days to do business with Sears and Roebuck. And they told Sears and Roebuck, if you could get this product out to us, we'd buy more of it. So they invented a thing called a catalog. And they sent it out to every place across the United States of America, and overnight literally became millionaires. But what they quickly realized was this, that even though they were selling more dry goods, they weren't selling as much as they could be, because what they realized was that when people came to the store to get a pair of overalls, it almost always turned into 3 pair of overalls, 3 shirts, 6 pair of socks, 2 pair of shoes, and some other stuff. But when they opened up the catalog and ordered it from the catalog, 1 pair of overalls was 1 pair of overalls. So how did they solve that? What was the missing thing? The people.
So they built stores all around the country, and they stocked it with salespeople. And what happened was their business doubled and tripled and quadrupled overnight. Amazon just did the same thing. You see, Amazon doesn't even want to be Amazon anymore. You know that they're opening stores all around the United States, right? All around the world. I mean, they bought Whole Foods. They're opening bookstores. They're opening clothing and furniture stores. You want to know why? See, when they got into business, they started basically by selling books. And so what they do is they take a $30 book and cut it down to $15 to get you to log on. And you'd log on and you'd buy that book. But what they quickly realized when they watched Barnes & Nobles, if somebody went into Barnes & Nobles for that same $30 book would only buy the $30 book, but typically two more for a total of $90, because the missing thing was the people that were there to interact with them and show them the other products. So now they're opening bookstores. You know, over the next couple of years, you watch the malls. The malls are coming back. The malls are far from dead. You're going to start to see these malls have stores by Amazon, furniture by Amazon, clothing by Amazon, all kinds of stuff, because they understand it's the salesperson. I'll throw a couple stats out here to you, because it's very interesting. I'm sure you read that this last Christmas was the biggest Christmas shopping season ever. Billions spent. Now, here's the one thing you may not know. The thing you may not know is only 10% of those Christmas gifts were bought online. 90% were bought in stores or over the phone, eyeball to eyeball, face to face, or voice to voice. 90%. As a matter of fact, 86% of any sale that's made in the United States of America today still requires face to face, eyeball to eyeball, or voice to voice contact. But yet we're in an industry that keeps telling us that our customers don't want to talk to us, and they're wrong. And the reason they're wrong is simple. Look at the last 10 years. Now, I love technology, don't get me wrong. I would never work on a service drive that didn't have a multi-point inspection. You're insane if you don't do that. I would never work a service drive that didn't have texting, emailing, video, all that stuff, tablets. I love it. But I wouldn't rely on it to sell, because it can't sell. Proof is in the pudding. You know, 10 years ago in this very city, Las Vegas, there was a company not far from here called MPI. Now, MPI did not mean multi-point inspection, but they developed the multi-point inspection. And they told you 10 years ago, 11 years ago, that if you put this technology on your service drive, you'd get an instant 5/10. Well, 10 years ago, the average hours per repair order, including oil changes nationwide, was 1.8. Today, it's 1.3. You were told 5 years ago if you put tablets on your service drive, survey scores would be easy, customers would be happier. There's never been more heat and more challenging to try and get a survey score for most dealers out there, because they're using this technology the wrong way. You were told 2 or 3 years ago if you got online reservations, texting, and email, the world would be good. And all you've done is you got your people trained not to talk to your customers, and so they're not buying anything. You know, there's a product out there today. It's called the Advisor Kiosk. Have you seen that? It's dead on arrival. I mean, why would you work as hard as you do to get somebody in your showroom and sell them a car, and then the first person they meet when they come back to service is a machine that's going to ask them, which one do you want? The one for $50, $100, or $150? Which button do you think that person's going to push? I'm not against technology. I'd buy one of those. I'd use it for night drops. I'd use it for early bird drop-offs, maybe delivering cars after hours, but replacing the service advisor, it's not dead on arrival. All right? So if that's the problem, then what's the solution? The solution is you've got to get your people trained to talk to these customers, because that's what they want. 86% of every sale that's made in the United States of America today, repeating myself, still requires face-to-face, eyeball-to-eyeball, voice-to-voice contact, and we fit in that because we're in retail sales. Average dealership out there.